Hello and welcome to the Bot Box. And hello Memento Mori, Wyrm's team. I'm sorry I cannot roll an R to save my life. To all other viewers, this might finally convince you that I'm not Scottish. I've been mistaken for such. Wyrm is a Scottish robot, hence the need to roll R's. I can't do that. And it's spelled with a Y YouTube subtitles. Anyway, to Wyrm. Made by the same team that made Overdoser. It wasn't made of wood. Wyrm, Overdoser was. He did fairly well. It was a black and green invertible box armed with a lifting scoop. It could run on 2 or 4 wheels, but had limited top armour due to weight restrictions. That would have been a problem if Wyrm was in a heat full of Axebots or Crushers. Instead, Wyrm's debut in Series 9 of Robot Wars was in Heat D, a heat full of spinners. At least Wyrm's wheels weren't exposed much. Wyrm drew 2 spinners in round 1, horizontal disc spinner Supernova and horizontal bar spinner Frostbite, and a grabber High Five, which also had a spinner but it was more of a grabby bot. Wyrm reversed into High Five early on, and High Five stopped. Wyrm then drove into a wall. I think they were trying to go for the pit release, but missed completely, and they also stopped. So that was them out, lasting 3 seconds less than Overdoser did, and that's including the 10-second count out. However, it was not the end of Wyrm. Nope. You see, in the first round robin match, Supernova bashed Frostbite so badly that Frostbite had to withdraw. So Wyrm took up Frostbite's sword, or should I call it the short straw? First up for Wyrm was horizontal bar spinner Ironside 3. Wyrm didn't charge Ironside 3 straight away, partially because Ironside 3 turned around to spin up. Either way, it was a tactical error, as once Ironside 3 got up to speed, it targeted Wyrm's scoop and tore it clean off in a single hit. Wyrm backed into shunt, got axed, got one side panel dislodged, which Ironside 3 duly tore off, along with a wheel. 2 hits later, Wyrm was dead, and another hit took a second wheel off. Wyrm's team had long since realised that their welding wasn't quite up to scratch. Next up, after wiring trouble during the repairs, was drum spinner Pulsar, which had its own repair issues. See what I mean? Short straw, even with Pulsar's repairs issues. Wyrm now had a decoration on its scoop, specifically this. This was painted on in green on Wyrm's scoop. I do not know what it means. Wyrm managed to stay away from Pulsar early on, and Pulsar let out some ominous smoke, but hit Wyrm in such a way that the scoop ended up going under Wyrm. Now for this fight, Wyrm had brought out the 2-wheeled configuration. So, after Wyrm got stuck with dead metal and got turned over, Wyrm couldn't actually move because the scoop was keeping the wheels off the ground. Wyrm couldn't get away as a result, so they got shoved on the flame pit, got cooked, pushed off the flame pit, and as a victory pose, Pulsar waved its little self-writer at Wyrm. So, that was Wyrm out. They needed to beat Ironside 3 to actually stand any chance of getting through. But as it was, they didn't even get one win. They were hopeful that the next time they show up, they'd have a winning robot, which is good. But Wyrm did not go home with them. They threw Wyrm into the nearest skip. And unfortunately, they did not return. Wyrm was a sound idea. In a spinner heavy series, it's always good to have a spinner killer. But Wyrm had multiple fatal flaws, namely the welding, the driving, and the tactics. However, Wyrm was significantly better than Overdoser was, and you can see the learning process going from having Overdoser, which stood no chance, to Wyrm, which arguably also stood no chance, but was a better robot. Who knows what the team moved on to? Hopefully, something better. So, who's next? Taiki, please be kind. Trouble and strife. Until next week, Carlson244, out.